Hey everyone, welcome to Ask Fernie Live. My name is Fernando. I am your resident psychic, medium, and spiritual teacher. And here you get to ask us questions about your life. You can ask about your intuition. You can ask about your life experiences. You want to know any spirituality based questions. If you want to ask about how to develop your senses, then this is the place to do it. Please remember that if you ask your question, be aware that your questions are made public. So you want to make sure that you're asking them in a way that you're not going to offend anyone or cause anyone to get their feathers ruffled. And remember, we are not licensed medical doctors, counselors, attorneys, or law enforcement officials. So for legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. And today I am excited because I have a guest on. This is one of my good friends. He is from Florida, the alligator, people eating alligator state. So I'm going to bring him on right now. So, hello, Mitch.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you
What's
doing?
up? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yes, we have a lot of alligators down here right now.
It's funny because when I heard that well, my partner was telling me about that. He was like, "Hey, did you hear about that alligator that ate that lady?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
this lady was walking her little dogs by the pond or by the water, and this alligator just came out and grabbed her and pulled her in and then just like tore her apart." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And the first person I thought about was you because I know that you in the morning walk your dogs out and you're always taking pictures, and I see water wherever you're walking by, and I'm like, okay, I hope he doesn't get eaten by an alligator one of these days.
Yeah, no, because I grew up here, I know to watch out for. I mean, and it's so funny because I grew up swimming in the lakes, and there'd be a gator, 100 yards away, and they don't bother us. But when there's dogs around, that's lunch for them. So you got to be real careful for smaller dogs and things like that. But they have become a little more aggressive because people like to feed them now, and that's not a good thing.
So what have you been up to lately? I know we haven't talked in a while. I We were supposed to do a live session like maybe like a month and a half ago or almost 2 months ago, and then I was going through the process of moving, and we
Yeah.
had a date, and then I totally forgot about that date altogether, and I was like, oh my god, we totally forgot to do our live session. So I know that you went up to, what was it, to New York or to,
Yep,
yeah,
New
yeah.
York. I do the Reader's Studio every year in April.
Mhm.
Last year, 2017, I got to present on the main stage, which was just the pinnacle of my psychic, intuitive tarot card reading career because it's the largest tarot convention in the U.S. I think it's probably the second. There's one in China. We were just discussing this the other day on a closed page, but I think it's the second largest in the world. So it's a lot of fun.
So what exactly goes on in a reader studio? I know a lot of people. Wait, can anybody go? Can I
Yes.
decide? Hey, I'm gonna go. Let me go. What is involved in all of that?
So typically, and the funny thing is last year they moved to a smaller hotel and they
Mm.
sold out in like 4 months. This year they sold out in less than a month and they were back at their larger hotel. So, which is about 180, 200 people.
Mm.
But what usually goes on, usually there's the Wednesday, excuse me, the Thursday before the weekend, they have tarot and psychology, and they have psychologists and psychotherapists come up and talk about how they've used tarot in their practices, which
Really?
has been fascinating. Yes. Now, this next year is the first year they're changing that, and they're doing Divination Day.
Mm.
So they're going to have runes, Lenormand, and casting. So casting is like casting stones, coins, trinkets. I don't know if you have ever done that. I've not. But Carrie Paris is a big casting person. She creates little casting charms. That's the word, charms. So they're doing a day of Divination Day, which is different than what they've done for the last like 5 years. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it is all about tarot. They have three main stage speakers. This past year, Rachel Pollack, Benny Bell Wynn was there,
Mm.
who is a newcomer, and then Mary Kay Greer, who is, the goddess of all things tarot. They were there and they spoke, and you have 3 days of just, submersiveness into all things tarot and people, and you just get to connect and see people that you've talked to online for years and meet them in person. So it's a lot of fun. It can be overwhelming because you're imagine being in a room with 180 of you and I. It's
Mhm.
like that. It's like all this powerful energy there. So it is a lot of fun.
But I've seen pictures of you giving talks there. What do you talk about whenever you go? What?
So 2 years ago, Ruth Ann and Wald called me and said, we'd like you to present at the 2017. And of course, I was like, oh my God, yes. And then I was like, I have no idea what I want to talk about. And the funny thing was, they actually called me on the day I got married. So it was a bizarre day for me. And so then I had 15 months to figure out what I was going to talk about. I actually had to keep it secret for 3 months until because they only announced it the last day of the Reader Studio for the following year. And I was going through, I'd been through some hypnotherapy training, and then I was going through an intense 500-hour, 9-month-long hypnotherapy training session or certification. And that's what I did. I brought hypnotherapy and tarot together. Like when you read the cards, if then we had a blank reading, just let's do a reading. Here's just a simple spread, let's do a reading. And I said, now we're going to go back in, but first I'm going to take you into a very hypnotic, relaxed, meditative state. And we're going to read the same cards. And it was funny because I could hear gasps and some crying, and one woman who's become a good friend of mine, she posted online. She said, I didn't know where she was going with this post because it didn't sound good at first. She said, I was in the middle of Mitchell's session. He was doing hypnotherapy. And all of a sudden I had to stop listening to him. And I was like, what is she going to say? She said, because I was in the middle of writing my second book and I had writer's block. And because of him taking me into that hypnotic state, it just totally released it. She said, in those few minutes of being there with him, I was able to finish the draft of what my book was going to be. And she even said, I'm going to dedicate the book to him. Now, whether she does that or not, I don't care. But I just thought, man, that's worth it for me. If one person can get something that powerful out of it.
So it's kind of that was just the part about like going under hypnosis, just being in a hypnosis state.
Yes. In other words, and because I was teaching ways to read the cards differently. I'm a practical person, so I'm like, I want to give you guys something practical. So I'm using the word meditative. I'm using the words relaxed state. I'm using hypnotic if you feel comfortable, because most states you don't have to be a licensed hypnotherapist or licensed in hypnosis to do that kind of work. It's good to be certified and licensed like I am, but I wanted to give them words they can use, because most of the time it's just a very relaxed state. And if you can kind of remove your critical mind, you're in that relaxed state. Most of us go into hypnosis as we're falling asleep. Most of us are in a hypnotic state as we're driving our cars, when we just suddenly go,
how did I get there?
How did I get here? I don't remember where I was. Your subconscious mind got you there is what happened, because it was on autopilot. So it's a very natural occurring state. And if I can get people into it and then look at the cards in that state, it's kind of cool. Plus I coach them. I'm like, now look at the card. And what might you not have seen before that you can see now? So, what do you see different?
So you're talking about like they're like using their intuition, or they're kind of tuning in to the meaning of the cards when they're in a hypnotic state?
In other words, yes, because in a hypnotic state, you're trying to remove the critical mind and get a little closer to your subconscious or your unconscious mind. And, if I do a reading, I pull 5 cards, I'll look at it as Mitch with the air condition blowing, with me just having to use the bathroom, with all this stuff. And then you relax me. And I'm in the moment, and the present moment, fully focused, and I look down at the 5 cards again. They're going to mean probably something a little deeper, or especially if I set the intention to go deeper into the cards. And I also took them into the cards as well. Like if you want to connect with a new deck that you got, oh my gosh. Ooh, now if also there's lightning going on, welcome to Florida. So you probably can't hear it, but there's thunder and lightning going on. So if I go blank,
then I know.
I'll try to I'll pull up my phone and jump on Skype there. But yeah, there's so a little bit of thunder and lightning for effect. But yeah, so once we get into that hypnotic state, then you can see a little bit deeper, you can trust a little bit more and understand what you're looking at a little bit better, especially when we're focusing on cards. And I use it also to help people connect to their guides and their angels. When I take them into the 5 dimensions of wellness, I take them into the reception area. And I asked them to call in a guide, an angel, their higher self into the session, which is going to follow them through the different doors into the different dimensions of wellness. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So have you ever thought of doing like a hypnotherapy or hypnosis CD where you can help people kind of focus on doing those things before they, because if you essentially standardize the technique and then you create some sort of like an audio program, you can really help people to use that right before they begin to practice using tarot cards or any kind of divination tool, so that they can maybe hone in a little bit deeper or see things in a different way than they would have prior to doing the audio.
Yeah, and when I finally do get my new website, which we talked about offline before, that's going to be one of the things that's on there. Right now, I utilize YouTube in just a simple video. But if you go to my website, mitchellosborn.com or mitchellosbornhypnotherapy.com, I have about 6 or 7 free meditations, some for chakra clearing, some for open heart, some for, I did one cool one called the Creation Health Meditation,
Mm-hmm.
which is an acronym that the Adventist Health System, which is the Seventh-day Adventist Church, that they use in their practice, because I'm connected with that outside here. And so there's a couple of free meditations. They're about 8 to 12 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but people can go check those out. And I usually tell my clients, if they've not been in hypnosis before, to go listen to at least the open heart meditation, because they're going to hear my voice. They're going to understand what it feels like to be in a hypnotic state.
Right.
And the more they can get connected to who I am, to my voice and stuff before they come into the office or we do one online, it will help them as well.
Right. Very cool. So, all right. Well, so you ready to do some readings?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so this is gonna
Absolutely.
this is guys. This is gonna be a little different platform than what I usually do. Normally, I just you ask your question, I pick your question, and then I answer it. What we're gonna do today is we are gonna let Mitchell go first, and he's going to use cards to help him kind of break that down or help you to understand maybe possibly the answer or what you need to know. So if you have a question or you would like to ask us a question, and it can be about anything, it can be about the use of tarot, it can be about how to advance your own skills, it can be about your own personal life. If you want to know what's coming up in your future, go ahead and post those questions in the comment section below, and then we will try to get to as many of them as possible. Also, guys, if you will like and share this video, one of you will be eligible to win a free 15-minute session with me. It's private one-on-one, so you don't have to worry about being in public asking your questions. So if you want to have a one-on-one private session with me, 15 minutes, then like and share this video feed on your Facebook page, so that way you can qualify for that. Make sure you guys give us a thumbs up, okay? All right, you ready?
I have to tell you something funny. The other night I did a Facebook Live, and I said pop culture, politics, and possibilities. And I started off with, because it was Tuesday night, it was hours away from, not to be political, but it was hours away from Trump and Kim Jong-un sitting down.
Yeah.
And I said, people, I'm not going to be political, but I'm just going to pull 3 cards to see what the energy is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because all I kept getting with the cards, first of all, I got the Lover's card, and I kept going, I just kept getting, this is just going to be a love fest.
Yeah.
And I said, or at least that's the way it's going to be portrayed. And of course, it pretty much was portrayed as this beautiful love fest and all of politics and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny. I did one on Oprah and some other people I didn't even, some big names I didn't even know who they were. But it was just kind of fun pulling them. And it was the energy of that person or that event or what was going on. So it was kind of fun.
Right. Yeah, it was an interesting thing to watch for sure. Just not to get political really quickly. But
as a psychic in a meeting, it's hysterical to watch that stuff.
But I'm happy that we are opening a dialogue, because sometimes the best way to kind of get things back to a place where we can live with each other is by talking first. And I always think we should be able to talk to each other. I know a lot of people, I think this whole election thing has just completely gone, just way out of, it's gone nuts. It's we as people are just beginning to fight with each other. And I know a lot of people who voted for Trump. I know a lot of people who voted for Hillary or for Jill Stein or whoever. For Hillary. It's just a lot of stuff there. And at the end of the day, my mom is still my mom. My cousin's still my cousin. My sister is still my sister. My so-and-so is still my friend. Those people, I know a lot of people who just dropped their friends because they didn't vote the same way they did. It's sad, but it did happen. And it's nice to be surrounded by people or to be to associate a lot with people who are like-minded, but at the same time, you do need contrast. That's why we're here in life, right? It's just to have a contrasting experience and to learn from each other and to grow with each other. And even though, I may not necessarily be a Trumpster or someone who's like totally about Trump, I do respect that people did vote that way, and I do understand what is being tried there. And it's interesting to watch that. And it's kind of like a novela. It's like a Hispanic novela. It's like a soap opera. It's like you're getting something. It's like, ooh, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen? Because you want to know what's going to happen. And it's the human drama. I mean, we go to movies, we go and watch TV because we are in love with the human drama, what we go through as human beings on a regular basis. But there's nothing like the human drama that's a reality check, which is what's happening, in different parts of the world. Some things being very sad and very controversial, some things being very good. It just depends on your perspective and what you choose to see every day. But it was just interesting watching that on TV, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous, but okay, hey,
Yeah.
if we can get something achieved here, let's do it.
And it was very interesting. It probably took me about 4 months before I said something online a year ago after the election, and I remember coming out and I say, people, I know most of the people that were watching me are read, would understand what I'm saying because of they're usually interested in the same things I am, not politically, but just what I was going to say, and that was that this is our shadow as a country coming out. And I challenged everybody, I said, the very thing that is pushing your button and pissing you off the most, you are capable of.
Right.
And if you don't understand that shadow work, then go get Debbie Ford's book, the Dark Side of the Light Chasers, and find out more about what's coming up in your shadow. Because when it stops bothering you, then you know you've done the work, or you move past that shadow that's within you. And that's where it took me probably about 4 or 5 months to kind of go get past it and realize, oh wow, this is okay. I see now. Okay, I'm good. And I'm just gonna continue to lift the world, the country, our globe, everything up in as high vibration as I can. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, you can only try to help make things better at this point. You can only try to raise the vibration, just because, I mean,
Yeah.
what else can you do? It's like you keep fighting with each other, we keep trying to go at each other, and it's just not getting us anywhere. Okay. All right, so let's look at what's going on here. What's going on,
You got
people?
questions?
Questions.
I can't see them, so you have to tell me
Yeah,
what
I'm
you're
gonna read
saying.
them out to you. So, let's see. Okay, I've got a lot of highs. I want to say hello to a few people. I've got Donna here. Hi, Donna. Hi, welcome. Christina. I've got Christina here. Let's see. Come on. Oh, there it is. Christina. Hi, Christina. Welcome. All right. So let's see. Here's a good question. Okay, and maybe let's see. Okay, Donna has a question. She says, "What's the first best way to raise your awareness of spirits around you?" Interesting.
So, and it's funny because that's not something I would pull a card for.
Yeah.
And I would say probably the best way for me is, first of all, setting the intention, speaking to your guides, to your angels, just literally saying, whoever works with me on a high vibratory level, I invite you into my world. Speak to me, help me to hear you, help me to understand what you're saying, how you're saying it, when you're saying it. Tap me gently on the shoulder, realizing I have free will and choice. But for me, the most important thing is if you do invite anything in, make sure it is something of high vibration, and raise your own personal vibration up, which you can do by eating clean, exercising, meditation. It's not one does all of it, but just start to focus on who you are and truly loving yourself and taking care of yourself. That raises your own vibration, which then I think it's easier to meet those energies that are at a higher vibration on the other side, if you will.
So I have a question. Okay, because you were talking about using hypnosis to raise, to kind of get people's analytical mind to kind of drop away so they can tune into the cards more easily. Can you do that with mediumship or with spirit communication?
Okay, now state the question, because I'm not sure what you're asking me. Could I use mediumship, or can I
No,
use?
meaning that, like, for example, if you're using hypnotherapy to help people get into a state where they're more receptive, so when they're looking
Yes.
at the cards, they're seeing things that they didn't see the first time around when they had their analytical mind working, like cray cray. So what I was asking is, can you use hypnotherapy or put someone through that process prior to actually attempting to make a spirit communication, or during a spirit communication session? Do you think that would also have would also be as effective in the same process?
Yes. In other words, if you were my client and you were trying to develop your medium, mystic, psychic abilities, intuitive abilities, doing work on yourself, especially in a hypnotic state or in a hypnotherapy session, is going to help that. We could specifically go into a hypnotherapy session to connect you to a deceased loved one. I would probably take you into hypnosis, take you to a safe, comfortable, peaceful place, relax the body, the mind, the soul, and then invite that person in specifically to connect to them. Because a lot of times when I do just a regression session, like if we went back to the first time you felt sadness and you were 3 years old, and you say the sadness was with you and your mom, and say your mom, had passed when you were 12, and here you are at 3, you're full on connecting to that mom energy there. And so it's really kind of cool, because this is where you can help people who don't consider themselves a psychic or a medium to do psychic and mediumship work in that hypnotic state. And it usually then lasts. I mean, it usually, once you're there, it's like you have a better understanding how it
Right.
works. Because I think, I'm pretty sure you think the same way I do. We're all psychic and mediums.
Right.
You just don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. People. I think people are surprised when I tell. I say this all the time. Everybody is a psychic. Everybody's a medium. I tell my clients that. You're not. I'm not any different than you are. I'm not any more special than you are, except I spent time paying attention to my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings. I understand the process that is at play, and I practice it. That's the only difference between you, someone who doesn't do this for a living, and myself, who spent time, practicing and learning how to do this. And that's the difference between someone who plays the piano and someone who doesn't. Someone who plays the piano probably had quite a few piano lessons, and that helped them to get to where they are. And if you want to get to that place, you just have to understand what piano is, what the keys represent, practice, 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 and then you'll start to see yourself getting better and better. It's one of those things, you have to use it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So to answer your question, Donna, my feeling, and one of the best ways that works for me when trying to raise my energy to connect with spirit, and I did this a lot in the beginning. I don't have to do this as much because I kind of go into auto mode once I do it now for a spirit communication session. But I used to say a surrender prayer before all my sessions. I would allow myself to surrender to the process, because if you can understand that this is between the person you are reading or connecting for and those in spirit, this is not about you. That is step one. That is the number one thing you can do, is to acknowledge that this is not about you. This is about that connection and honoring the connection, and surrendering to the connection. I think Paul Selig, he just gave he was giving a lecture. Paul Selig is this author, and he's a channeler, a well-known channeler who's been featured on a few programs throughout the years. But he was talking about how he isn't special. He isn't unique. He just shows up. Every day he just shows up and does the work. He just shows up and does the channeling work. And so you have to show up. And so that's, for me, step one is just showing up and surrendering to the process. Step two is feeling good, or feeling as good as you want to. A lot of people, when they start to connect with spirits, or they want to connect with those in energy form, they are just open to whatever because they're desperate. They want any kind of connection. Well, you don't want to have any kind of connection, because you don't want to open up to lower level energies, because that'll attract or bring in a lot of different kinds of entities and individuals and personalities that you don't really want to deal with. It's like your home. You don't open the front door to your home and say, hey, everybody and anyone can come into my home. You like to screen the people that are going to come into your home, because they are coming into your personal space. So you want to have the intention of connecting with those who are of a place of love, a place of healing, and who have messages to validate themselves here for us, here in the physical world. So you have to set that intention, and my way of doing that is just to try to feel good. You set the intention by verbalizing it, or you can just feel good. Feeling good puts you on a different vibrational frequency, puts you on a different level, and it helps you to start to elevate your energy to a higher state. And one of the best ways that I used to do that in the beginning was listening to my favorite music. I used to listen to music where it just made me wanted to dance, and made me wanted to get into that mode, and that music made me feel amazing. And you know that song you listen to, that it feels so good listening to it, that it gives you chills, or kind of gives you that, oh, I can feel it. That's what you want to do, is practice that feeling, because the more you do that, the more you raise that vibration in your energy, and then you can start to establish stronger and stronger connections the more you practice that. So I think that's what works for me. That has been what's worked for me since the very beginning. And then after you do it so long, it just becomes a natural process, and you just kind of do it when you do it. So, all right, here's.
And I have to say, as you were talking, I said, okay, if I pull a card, what would the card be for her? And so funny, the moon, which is the ultimate psychic card. I mean, it truly is. It's connected to Pisces. It's truly and what Spirit said for me when I pulled this was, pay attention. So focus on, where's your focus going?
So paying attention, so just giving attention to the process, it's
Yeah.
is enough. I mean, and it is. The moment you open yourself up to the potential that this is real, that this is possible, is the moment you open a door to that happening. You're inviting in those experiences into your life. So
And one of my teachers taught me something really valuable with like journaling, and she said create a success journal. So if you start doing readings for people and stuff like that, every time you give a reading and you have what we would call hits or things that make sense, write number one dot dot dot, number two got this right, number three, and then when you get to 998, you can't deny the fact that you've almost got 1,000 things right. It builds what? Belief.
yeah.
And then you start to trust the information that comes through. So I think the belief is a big part, because how many, in the beginning, how many times did you drive home from a class or a circle and you just
Mm-mm.
go, why can't I focus? I'm like, I know I'm hearing voices, but nobody in the room could take the information. What was that about? And be like, okay, my focus was to develop laser-like focus. I want laser-like focus.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I remember, well, and I still do this now, where if I was doing a session for a client and I'm saying what I'm saying, and they're just like, no, no, no. And I'm like, no one ever just says no unless they're not paying attention. And
Yeah.
there have been times where I'm also listening to what they're telling me, and they're like, no, why would that person come through? Why would they want to say anything? What does this have to do with that person? And I'm like, okay, stop right this minute. I need you to stop. I need you to pay attention to what I am telling you. Anyone is invited into this space. I cannot control who's going to come through, but we will work together with those in spirit to get to that connection, to get to that individual. But I need you to be open and I need you to be receptive. If you've established that this is only going to be about one person and you only want to hear 4 or 5 pieces of information, then you are screwing yourself out of a potentially amazing reading because you are trying so hard to control the session. So I need you to stop trying to hear certain things. Just listen to what is being shared and be open to what this could mean. Even if you don't understand what I am saying in the moment, that is okay, which is why I record sessions, because they need to go back and listen to it. And I have to always tell them, you connected with a lot of information. I need you to go back to the recording. I need you to go over every single thing that I said to you, write it down, and check off the stuff that you connected with, and the stuff that did not make sense in the moment. Ask your family members, ask people, because you think you know everything. You may not know everything. And so it's just a story where I had a client, and she and her mother came to visit me, and I kept telling them that I think it was their grandmother or their grandfather. No, who was it? It was, I think, their father. Their father came through, and he kept mentioning a new member in the family named Benjamin. And they're like, no. And this is a predominantly Hispanic family, right? So they're like, we don't have anyone in the family named Benjamin. And I was like, no, they're spelling it out. It's like a Ben, Benjamin. It's got to sound like that. And he's talking about a new member in the family. There's a new member in the family. Either there's a new baby named Benjamin, or there's a new member in the family named Benjamin, but something about a Benjamin. So they were like, nah, okay, whatever. So they left, and they were like, well, he got quite a few details and quite a few bits of information. We didn't really get that thing about Benjamin. Well, they went home. They had a family gathering like 2 weeks later. At the gathering, they were talking about the session. And as they were mentioning the session, their cousin was like, oh my God, like we just got a new dog, and the dog's name is Benjamin. And this just happened like 2 or 3 weeks prior. So this would have already happened when we did the session. So they were like, oh, because they didn't realize that, because they thought that this was a person. And I was like, it's a new person, it's a new member of the family. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person. Some people, their animals are family. My cats are my family. So that's what they were talking about. And sometimes when I'm trying to interpret the information, I get a little off as far as how I'm understanding it, because it's not clear cut communication. It's through thoughts, emotions, and memories. It's like trying to play a game of charades with thoughts, emotions, and memories. It's not just like speaking to you the way that I'm speaking to you now with words and language. They do not communicate that way. So it'd be great if they did. For me, they don't. And so I have to work with what I get, which is why I tell people, just don't dismiss it. Just, be open and receptive to whatever comes through. So, okay, I've got a question here from Cecilia. Cecilia asks, my husband is driving me crazy, changing his mind in which way to go to finish his education for his career. Where do you see him going? Where he's satisfied? So essentially, he doesn't know where to go. Her husband doesn't know where to go regarding his education, and she wants to know where he should go.
Does he have two choices? Do we know if she has two choices?
Don't know.
I
She,
know that's okay.
yeah.
So, and I'm going to pull cards for this because this will be fun. I'm going to pull three cards and just see what we get here. And I'm a teacher at heart, so I'm going to teach a little bit about. So I got the Ten of Cups, and first of all, that tells me, first of all, be at rest, be at peace, trust whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So, and I'm hearing from Spirit for Cecilia and her husband, I would highly encourage her to be supportive, allow him to just work through whatever he's got to work through. This is something I say to a lot of clients, especially women and their husbands. Be the example, not his teacher. He probably didn't ask you for the advice, but he will watch you as you live out your life. And then Three of Swords. It's funny because this is about loss and regret and letting things go. And as I pull that card, I hear Spirit say, I almost want to tell him that whichever one he's really trying to go after, like the one that it feels like a little bit of a pipe dream or just a little out of his reach or unqualified, I almost want to say let that one go because I feel like it's not going to bring him satisfaction, happiness, whatever. And then the eight of wands, which is about travel often. But for me, this is about getting your head up out of the clouds and getting yourself clear. So this is where I would say for him, and this is a very balanced reading because it's cups, swords, and wands, but it's also very masculine, which is moving forward because of the wands and the swords. But I would say definitely get your head, have him clear his mind however he can. It's like he can't see the forest now for the trees because he's so intense and into it. And this is where I think she can help with the energy of it. Because if she's putting any pressure on him, forcing him, what are you going to do? When's it going to happen? What's going to go on? It's like that child who's just pushing back against mom and dad because they're pressuring him so hard. So I almost want to say she just needs to chill out, support him, be kind, and let him clear his head. But also then I think he'll see that trying to go for this one, which is out of reach, is probably not going to be the best thing. And it probably in the long run wouldn't make him happy. I feel like honestly, and this is from Spirit, I feel like needs to go back to something that he's done before or that makes him happy, that he knows is going to make him happy, and not try to be something that he's not.
Well, it almost makes me feel like he wants her to tell her what he want. It's like he wants someone to tell him what to do, and he
Yeah.
doesn't want to figure it out on his own. And so, I think he's just trying to like express that, like someone tell me what to do. And sometimes it's the journey itself is what's important. Trying to figure out what your passion is, or what you're just going to enjoy, or what you're going to be comfortable with. I think when I tune into this, what I am picking up on is I feel that he's probably going to go in a direction. Again, I agree with Mitchell. I think that there's something that he either has already had experience with, or someone he's worked with before, or an associate is going to come along and is going to maybe give him some sort of an opportunity or open up a door for him. And I think that when this door is opened, I think that it's going to be pretty easy for him to get involved with that. Now, what is this? I actually feel it has something to do with technology. I keep seeing pipes, long pipes, so I don't know if this has to do with like.
See, I'm feeling almost construction like, and he
Yeah,
wants to get out of that physical hard
right,
labor into something that seems easier
right.
or like.
So I still think it's going to have something to do with that vibe. Except, it's funny because you were talking about the wands. Um, when I had my cable installed here, the Xfinity man, the Comcast man, when I think of your husband, that's who I'm seeing in my head. And so what I am thinking is that he's probably going to get involved in a telecommunications company, or with a telecommunication company like that, where they have to go up, the poles, or deal with like the wiring and the piping and the infrastructure that has to do with that kind of technology. Not so much construction like house building, or not so much pipes like the Gulf of Mexico and the oil rigs, more that kind of pipes and those kinds of um, that kind of feel, or that kind of vibe is what I'm getting for him. So I'm going to say it might have something to do with telecommunications, or even infrastructure that has to do with the cable companies, cell phone companies, cell towers, that kind of stuff. And that's the direction I'm going to see him pulled into. But I think it's because someone he worked with or someone he's associated with does that now, and they may tell him about an opportunity that opens up, and he might have to get certification to do this, but I think he'll be able to do that, in my opinion. Okay, so let's see. I've got another question here. I've got one from Felicia. Will I get a promotion this year? Will. She's like, will. Will I get a promotion this year is her question.
Oh, 10 of swords. It's like, I want to just say, stop throwing yourself against these swords. It's like the worry. Oh my gosh, the 9 of swords, which is more worry. Oh my, this is too funny. But here's the emperor, which is very much Aries. So let me know if you are Aries or fire, another fire sign, Leo, Aquarius, Leo or Sagittarius. But it's like I want to say, stop worrying. Stop worrying. It feels like it's funny because you said will and will. And I just keep going back to you are trying to will this to happen, like force this to happen. And to use your word, it's making you cray cray. It's like I want to say, I want to just say, just trust, 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 trust. The moon card came up again. So, and Fernando can tell you about manifesting and creating. For me, manifesting and creating is emotional. It's from the heart. It's not saying I want that job, working in that place, making that money. It's saying I want to feel good when I go to work. I want to feel safe. I want to feel financially stable about how you feel. Then let the universe do the rest in supplying you the job, the location, the name on the door, and all that kind of other stuff.
So when I love that you even brought that up because that's a great segue into talking about that. But it's obvious that you want another job because you're not happy with yours. That's pretty obvious, right? I mean, anyone can figure that out. So you want another job. The thing about it is that I think that you are wanting this to happen for you, and you are not reconciling your current emotional experience, your current vibrational experience where you are. You have to reconcile where you are in order to move forward into something else. So instead of I want something else, I feel something else, because I feel and I choose are the same thing. I feel something else. I choose something else. If you want to choose something else, you have to feel what that is. If you want to feel something else, you have to choose it. So they're interchangeable there. So if you want to manifest a different experience for yourself, you need to feel differently about the one you're in now and reconcile those feelings. That doesn't mean you're going to get to a place where you're absolutely happy and in love with your current job. That's not what's going to happen. I mean, if you're not happy there, you're not happy there. But just get to a place of peace with it where you just don't care about it anymore. Because by caring about it and caring how it affects you, it is automatically generating more of those experiences for you. So you have to basically play down what you feel and how much of an impact your current experience is having on your life. Reconcile those feelings. Once you do that, you're creating a space for something new to come in, and then you start to practice feeling what the new job would be like. What would a new job feel like? If you got a call and someone said, "Hey, I've got a new job. It pays 20,000 more than what you make now." What does that feel like, having that conversation on the phone, getting that good news? What would your bank account start to look like? What are you going to do with all that extra money? Because now you've got some more money flowing in, and you're just going to go and start spending it all and get into more debt again? Or are you going to start to use that to kind of catch yourself up and get to a better place financially? I mean, what do you want to do? So don't focus so much on the getting the new job part. Just start to assume that that's a reality and start to practice with anything that is at your disposal. Practice with props if you have to. What would that feel like? What is that? Because by feeling that, you're choosing that, and reconcile what you feel about your current job situation right now. Because if you don't reconcile that, you're only going to sustain that vibration, sustain that energy, sustain that pain, and that is what you're trying to get away from. Now, to answer your question, will you get a new job this year? You can. I'm not saying you can't. Most likely you won't. That's not, that's how I feel. My feeling is that you probably won't see a change until maybe February. And the reason why I see a change in February is because I think you're going to change your mind about leaving before the year is over with. And then you're going to decide to stick it through into the holidays. And then as the beginning of the year hits around, you're just like, you know what? I've decided I've had enough and I do not want to sustain this anymore. So I have to give something else 100% of myself. And I think that you'll make that decision early next year. I also think it either has something to do with education or with the government system, because I keep seeing government buildings and I keep seeing a schoolhouse. So there's something that connects both of those two that might be associated with what you're going to go into. But to answer your question, you can totally change that because the future's fluid. It's not set in stone. You can bring that closer to yourself today, right now. You can start practicing that and bring that closer to yourself. It may take a little time, but it may not have to take till next year. But I mean, if you work on that, I think that you'll definitely see a change. But as of right now, the way I'm feeling vibrationally with you, I feel like by next February is probably when you have the opportunity come up for you. Okay.
Yeah, that resonates with me as well. And here's the lesson in a nutshell: worry is a prayer for the very thing you don't want. So if you're worrying about, something, not getting a job, not moving forward, you're literally sending out a prayer to the universe. Please bring me the exact thing I don't want. That's why I'm going to worry about it.
I always tell people, God listens to your heart, not to your words. If your words say, thank you, God, but your heart is saying, I hate this, change this, I don't want this, what is more powerful in the eyes of God? What is more powerful? Is it your words that mean nothing to you, or is it your heart and that energy that you're putting out into the universe? Because that is what is being resonated. And God is trying to work with us. The universe is trying to work with us to help us get to our next stage, get us to the place that we are meant to go as souls of spiritual beings. And so if you are praying for more of the same, you're going to get more of the same because your heart is what is the loudest, not your voice. So let's see. I've got another question here from. Uh, um, Here's one from Patrick. Patrick asks, "What I want to move next week. Do you see that happening?"
I want to move next week. Do I see that happening?
Yeah, so he wants to move.
But I tell you, I shuffle the cards. The Nine of Swords is coming up again. There's so much worry. The Ace of Cups. Now this is a nice thing. This is often about starts and beginnings, and it's very emotional, matters of the heart, often about loving relationship. And then the Queen of Swords. I feel like, Patrick, I feel like you can make this happen, but Spirit, I'm laughing because Spirit's like telling me needs to use his big boy words. So I don't know what you're not speaking and saying like truth. I almost feel like you haven't either told someone, I'm done here, I need to move out, I want to go, I break the lease, quit this. It's like break up. I don't know if it's a relationship you're in and you're trying to find a new to get out of the house because you got to share the house with that person you moved in with. But it's almost like I need you to speak your truth and from your heart, which we've been talking about that. Stop worrying, stop sleepless nights. I feel like there's stuff over this too. So yeah, speak your truth.
Patrick, I'm going to give you till August to get it done. I think that by August you'll be somewhere else, but I feel like it's going to take you until August to kind of just get it done. And the reason why is because I think next week is you. It's, I mean, it's possible, but I think that financially you've overextended yourself, so you need to work on that. You need to work on kind of building your finances up a little bit, and I think it's going to take you to August to get there and make it a reality. So I'll give it to you. I'll give you to August until that happens. Okay, so we've got another question here. Okay, so let's do a health question here. I've got Mandy, and Mandy asks, "What is coming up for me health wise?"
What's coming up for Mandy health wise? All right, so shuffled. The judgment card, and this is not about judgment. This is about being freed from the things holding you back. So being freed from things holding you back, I would say, first of all, if you're looking to either lose weight, start an exercise program, or doing something like that, I feel like that is a good time for you to do that in the near future because the judgment, being freed from the stuff holding you back, I feel like that's breaking out of cycles. Oh, the Tower card. You've got a lot coming up, a lot. And then the Hermit card. The reason I say a lot is because these are three major arcana cards. So for you, health-wise, I feel like it's time for you to break free of this habitual cycle that you've been in. And I feel like you need to stop listening to people because I feel like you're asking for help and advice and guidance and you're getting so many stories. I just want to say, it's so funny. I just want to hug you and say, honey, trust yourself. Trust yourself. You are smart. You are smart. You are wise. You are good. You are intelligent. It's like, trust yourself. But I really feel like getting quiet, getting in a meditative place, getting centered and grounded is going to help you to make better decisions about your physical health, about what's going on. But I really feel like this is an odd image, but Spirit is showing me like a snake shedding its skin. It's like I want you to get out of this old habit, and I I can imagine a snake shedding its skin is not painful, but for a human to think about shedding their skin, God, that does feel painful. In my mind, it feels painful. So it's almost like there's going to be a little bit of releasing, and it's going to be a little bit painful. I feel more emotional than physical, but I really feel like it's time to break free and move forward.
So what I am feeling for you, Mandy, is I think there's a couple of things. I want to say there's three things that I'm kind of focused on. One is I think you've gotten away from what you used to do before that made you feel good, that actually was a healthy way of doing things for you. So either you're trying something new, or you're trying to force yourself to get onto a new program, or trying something different that is not what you used to do, what used to work for you. And I think that maybe the reason why it's not working for you is because it kind of goes against your body's biology, and your body might not be best equipped to handle some of those like changes in dietary habits. Another thing is I am seeing some skin related condition or some skin related inflammation. I am not sure if this is on the arm or if this is kind of like right here, because I'm kind of feeling some inflammatory related stuff going on here. I'm also seeing spots within the chest or the breast area. Now, I do not want to freak you out, because
Yes.
sometimes people like automatically go, "Oh my gosh, Fernando, you're saying that I have, breast cancer." That is not what I am saying. First of all, I'm not a doctor. I cannot diagnose. I can only tell you what I am feeling. What I feel is when I scan this part of your body, I am seeing spots or dots within this part of the body. Sometimes that could represent a buildup of tissue like fibrosis or fibroids. Sometimes that can mean if someone was a smoker, there's some inflammation in the lungs or some buildup in the lung system that might be created there. That could also have to do with allergies. That can also have to do with asthma. In your specific situation, though, I do think that it might have more to do with the breast tissue. I'm also seeing some inflammation underneath the arm as well, and for me, that's the lymph nodes or the lymphatic system. So I think that something is getting into your body that your body is not having the easiest time processing through the system. It is clogging and congesting the system, and I think it's starting to build up in the lymph nodes or the lymphatic system. I also feel that the breast or the chest area is going to be an area of focus. Again, some of the skin inflammation may also relate to the same causes or the same basic elements that are creating that. So what I would say is pay attention to what you're putting into your body. Maybe even look and see, I would suggest you go to maybe like someone who deals with allergies, like an allergy nutritionist or someone like that, because I think that there's certain things that are getting put into your body, and this could even be supplements, substances. I mean, it could be any number of things, but something's getting into your body that your body's having trouble processing, and I think that's starting to create some more issues there. I also feel a little tired with the adrenals, so the adrenals and the part of the endocrine system is also having a little issue, but the focus is going to be on this chest area and also some of that inflammation with the skin and what you're putting into the body. So pay attention to that. I think it is something that is definitely treatable and something you can totally work past. Okay.
I thank you, because literally I kept seeing the chest as well. But here's what my message from Spirit was: honor your feminine, love your feminine.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're going through any kind of identity crisis, or you're feeling like you need to shut down your feminine side and be more masculine and take charge, or people telling you. It's like, I want to tell you, love yourself, love the feminine aspect of yourself. And as a hypnotherapist, the skin is one of the most fast bodily parts to react to self-hypnosis. And a lot of times, all you got to do is, how many times do we walk by the mirror and we look in the mirror and we go, ugh, we roll our nose and roll our eyes at ourselves.
Yeah.
We would not let anybody do that to ourselves, but we are constantly. So find that beauty within your skin, no matter what it looks like, within yourself, and especially the feminine, and like Fernando was saying with the chest, because I saw that as well, but more of love your feminine, because I've seen more women who were leaders, VPs, directors in the man's world who were denying their feminine, who got breast cancer. Is because they were denying the feminine aspect of themselves, and this is how it showed up. And if you read Louise Hay's book on You Can Heal Your Body, or You Heal Your Life, you'll notice what that a lot of that stuff is. So love your feminine, and for me it feels extremely benign. But as Fernando said, we're not diagnosing. But if you have a checkup, always get that looked into and checked out with your doctor as well.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that you brought that up, because the breasts represent your connection to femininity. They also represent your connection to motherhood, or to the sense of being a mother. They also connect you to it's a place of vulnerability. Why? Because with females and with males, women, the breasts are something that protrudes out of the body, comes out of the body, is obviously disconnected from them as far as the body is concerned when you look at the basic frame. And so it's something that causes, it's something that is exposing you to outside circumstances and experiences. And so it makes perfect sense why Mitchell, when he was talking about these executives who they end up getting breast cancer because they had, and again, that is not what I am saying. That I'm not saying you have breast cancer. What I'm saying is that sometimes these conditions, these issues are caused because there's energy that is nurturing and being rooted underneath all of these physical issues. Disease is not a condition. Disease is the consequence of a condition. And the condition is something rooted within you energetically, whether it's emotional, mental, or energetic in that sense. And so there's something that might be going on there that you might need to pay attention to. But again, we are not doctors. We are not saying you have breast cancer. But please make sure that you keep yourself checked and make sure that you actually all women should be getting their mammograms. I'm surprised at how many women do not get mammograms on a regular basis. I know some women do not go because they're afraid they're going to get bad news. Sometimes you just need to go and get checked. I know someone dear to me who recently was diagnosed with breast cancer, and they are going through that right now. And they are. It's interesting because they're not fighting it. They are embracing that this is what is happening because whatever reason, this is where they are in their life. Life has decided this is what's going to happen. So they've embraced the experience and said, okay, what do I need to learn from this? What do I need to change in my life? Because this is supposed to bring me awareness of something. And I'm supposed to change because of this. So she's using it as an opportunity to change and to move forward. For her, this is not mentally, this is not a life or death struggle. This is a perspective of trying to understand what this is for her, why this is occurring, and what she needs to change about herself because there are some things going on there. And she is treating it with traditional treatment. I mean, no one says you shouldn't treat, cancer with regular medications or regular treatments, but sometimes you have to dig deeper because that's only treating it's only treating the effects of a condition, not the condition itself. So something's caused that. What is it? So, all right. I've got a question here from Ryan. Will my career take off?
Is that the question?
Well, I don't know if it's for Ryan or for Jana because it's Ryan, Jana, Thompson. So I guess this is a couple because they've got both the pictures on there. But that's the question. So what I would say is it's either for Ryan or Jana. It's for one of them in that relationship. But the question is, will my career take off?
Well, statistics will say that it's for the girl because 85% of the people that watch stuff like this are girls.
Right.
And then of the other 15%, those are probably gay men. But she's obviously probably married to that person. So there may be one straight man watching. So career takeoff. Three of Swords, we got this about career earlier, along with the Queen of Coins, which is the ultimate businesswoman, mother. And then the Page of Wands. I really like this one. I feel like, again, release release the expectation. It's like I feel like a little bit about manifesting and creating, but it's almost like you've locked your sights on this one job and that's all you're waiting for is that one particular one. So it's like, again, go back to, I want to wake up in the morning. I want to feel this good about the new job. I want to feel that whatever it is, I want to feel this and just allow the energy to move it forward and bring it into existence. So will it take off? I think so. And if you're, Spirit showed me something I had to do in my own line of work. Focus on the people outcome rather than the financial. So let's say you're a massage therapist. Rather than saying I want to make $2,000 a week, change that into I want to work on 40 bodies a week, 40 beings a week. So focus on the outcome of the people, of the heart center stuff, rather than like the bottom line kind of money thing. So and I feel like I'm going to be honest with you, I'm feeling 6 months and it's going to really, really be flourishing. So within 6 months by the end of the year.
So I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say, I'm going to give you 6 to 7 months to get it together. That's what I was seeing. So I'm glad that you said 6 months. I was about to say that same thing. So I love it when we're in sync because I agree with Mitchell. I think give yourself 6 to 7 months. I think that you are in a learning curve because you are trying to do your business, or you're trying to focus on your career or your path in a way that is more traditional. And I think that you're going to have to make a few changes and adjustments that are not the traditional route. So I think that these things are going to require you to make some changes over the next few months. So I'm going to give you 6 or 7 months, and then I think you'll really start to see a difference there. So from now until then, just be careful. Also, there may be a little bit of a dip during June or July, because we are in June or July. So June or July dip period financially, which means that you might either not be making as much money as you expected, or there may be less money flowing in there. But just give it a little time. I think you'll catch on. Sometimes when you're trying to do something in your life, especially when it comes to career, and you're trying to like make something happen, and it's not happening, it's not because it's not supposed to happen or it's not going to happen. It's just because maybe you need to do something different with it, or you need to make an adjustment or a change. So I think that there's something there that you probably need to take a look at and re-examine, and then approach it from a different way or different perspective. And I think that will basically help you. So 6 to 7 months, and then I think you'll start to see a lot of improvement there. All right, you have enough time for one more question?
Sure.
Okay, so I've got one more here. Whose question is it going to be? Let's see. Whose question?
I'm laughing already because I don't know what.
Oh, so many great questions. Okay,
I feel it's going to be a funny one. I don't
yeah,
know why.
this is okay. Is my child's father and I ever going to be in a more positive, better partnership soon, or will there still be problems?
Okay, so I'm going to just pull 3 cards for the energy of that relationship, just to see what's going on with that relationship. It's funny. I'm still laughing at it. I'm still laughing at it. This is the Empress. This is like another baby coming. I'm like,
Oh wow.
I don't know if y'all are, when you're taking care of the children. I don't know if there's something. And this is the Page of Cups, another child. Oh my gosh, and this is like the ultimate family card. I would be surprised if there's another baby. Now, if you're cringing going, heck no, then you know how to prevent that. But I really feel like, and again, this can be about starts and beginnings, not just about babies. That's probably why I'm laughing so much, because it's like, there's another baby coming. I hope it's between the two of y'all and not like somewhere else. But I really feel like, stay grounded, and I feel the Spirit saying stay grounded and really focus on what's important. What's really important. If you need to do that, okay, in 10 years, is this going to make a difference, kind of a thing? Or zoom out, look at it from a high perspective, what really matters. I keep coming back to, so when I hear this, I feel like I'm going to say it flat out, I feel like there's a lot of pettiness going on. So I would say really come back to what's important. And if you're button pushers, it's easy to get petty. It's easy to be passive aggressive. It's easy to push the button back just so you can not feel the pain of having your button pushed.
I So it's funny that you pull the Empress card, because I was going to say, you both are very stubborn and hard-headed. You both want your way. You both want to control things. You both do not like being told what to do. And you both have different opinions and ideas for how a relationship should operate, or if you are in a relationship or not. I think that you are more in this relationship than they are. I think that they are not ready for the kinds of responsibilities and the sense of obligation that they've gotten themselves into. And I think that you don't understand that, and you're having trouble reconciling that. And that's okay. Sometimes people aren't ready for the life that they're handed, and when they're thrown in. And I think he's not ready to be a father. I don't think he's ready to be a spouse, and I don't think that he's ready to be committed. I think that those are areas that he is struggling with. Sometimes people can grow into those places. They can grow into that stage. They can get to that place with the help of their spouse, with the help of the significant other. And I definitely feel he has the potential to do that. But I'm going to say you're probably going to be like hitting your head and just kind of slamming your face against the wall for about 2 years, because I do not see a massive change in that energy with them for about 2 years. And not only that, I do agree with Mitch. I think there may be the potential for another child, but I think that you're probably going to have to direct this in towards where you want it to go. I think you're naturally the alpha, and you're naturally wanting to move things along in the direction that you feel best. And so you are seeing this family, you are seeing this all in a certain way, and it's not that way. And so what you might need to do is just acknowledge what it is, what it isn't, and try to do the best that you can. And if you can do that, you might get flexible enough and you might have enough patience there that in about 2 years, when they are in a better place or they've gotten some more experiences and they've matured more as a person, they might be prepared to deal with some of these responsibilities at that time. But again, I would say accept them for who they are right now, not for who you want them to be, because you can at least find peace with each other in that way, and then you can make the best out of the situation, and hopefully they will change in time. Okay. All right, Mitch. Thank you so much
Yay!
for being a part of the show. For people who want to get in touch with you, who want to connect with you, want to learn about tarot, who want to actually have a session with you, or what else you have going on, because you've got quite a bit of things going on now. So tell me what everything that you offer at this time.
I do animal communication, alive or crossed over. I do, hypnotherapy. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I work with tarot and Lenormand cards as well. So you can find me at mitchellosborn.com. And I do have several classes on the things that I teach that you can find under my website, mitchellosborn.com, under the webinars and classes. They're canned and on demand.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for joining in, guys. I will select someone to win a free 15-minute session with me, but first you have to like this video and share it on your Facebook Live feed or on your Facebook feed with your friends and family, and I will select someone in the coming week. So until then, bye, guys. Until then, later. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.